Yo, welcome to a special episode of the X Factor Sports Podcast in between seasons. This is Jay Mondaine. The season 11 premiere is March 25th, where we will be deep into March Madness, getting close to figuring out who's going to a Final Four or national championship at that time. We'll also get into NBA. But today, we wanted to do a special episode. This is going to be a live reaction to Selection Sunday, the men's March Madness bracket, 68 teams. As you can see over here on your right, my left, we are going to have the teams get put live on the screen, courtesy of the NCAA.com website. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, my name is Jay Mondaine. We are going to have a live reaction. I'm watching this in real time. I'm going to be talking about it in real time. So for the next hour, we're going to tune in. We are on all platforms. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. So be sure to follow the X Factor Sports Podcast. Every Wednesday night, you will get updates to the show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Ben Brinson, appreciate you for the comments. We are live on YouTube. Also, and we got our first pick in the East region. As we knew, the Duke Blue Devils would be the number one overall seed. They've been the best team wire to wire. 17 quad one wins this season. All right. Nobody is surprised by this pick. What I am interested in, though, is the other one seeds, because no one else that was a one seed, Arizona won their region or won their conference tournament, so they get the one seed. I'm interested to see what they do in Michigan and Florida. If they get Florida out of the South region because they didn't make it to their SEC championship. And what will they do in Michigan? Is Michigan still going to be awarded that Midwest region? Okay. We know Arizona's going to get the West. Duke obviously has the East. Ohio State made it to the tournament. They made a push. St. John's in the same region as Duke. I don't know how I feel about that. As a Duke fan, I like St. John's. They're a tough team. They beat UConn. I figured they were going to beat UConn in the Big East tournament championship. Well done for Rick Pitino. Another program that he's just bringing to the tournament. He does it everywhere he goes. The 12-5, they get Northern Iowa. That'll be an interesting game, but I think St. John's will beat them. I don't think there won't be that many 12-5 upsets this year, I don't think, guys. So when you're filling out your bracket, be cognizant of that. Figure out what you want to do with those, but I don't think there'll be that many 12-5 upsets. All right. KU getting a 4 seed. Listen, I don't think KU deserves a 4 seed. The games that they lost, how they lost them. I mean, they're in the East region. They got to go all the way to San Diego. I guess that is the punishment for them, that they don't get to be in the Midwest. But a 4 seed is saying that they're one of the top 16 teams in America. And I just don't believe that they are. I don't believe that they played that way. They had a nice little 10-game winning streak in between the regular season, but I watched them live on Friday night against Houston, and they did not look like one of the top 16 teams in the country. But this seems like this is going to be a really tough region. So far, it's the first region, so we don't know, but Louisville's in this region, KU, St. John's, Michigan State, along with Duke in this region. So they got their work cut out for them if Duke wants to win this region and get to a Final Four. They got some good teams to play against. But there's a lot of parity in college basketball now, right? With NIL, transfer portal, that's kind of spread the love out everywhere. UCLA played surprisingly well in the Big Ten tournament. They get the 7 seed. So I'm interested to see how this goes. All right, so I refreshed the screen, so y'all should be able to see on my screen what these teams are looking like so far in this region. Broke that down. And if you're watching it on TV. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in on live. And now we got UConn in this region as well. For Duke to be the number one overall seed, are they trying to say that UConn is the lowest 2 seed? Because that's usually how you do 1, 2, 3, 4. That means you would put UConn as the lowest 2 seed if they're in the top 1 seeds region. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, they got them in their region. They get to stay in Philly. So congrats to UConn. Again, if Duke is to get to a Final Four, they're going to earn it because you got to go see Michigan State again, Louisville again, possibly, UConn. You got St. John's, who's tough. And then you got to probably play KU again. So this is going to be an interesting one. So go ahead and comment. Let me know what y'all think about this East region. Duke, the number 1 overall seed. You got KU in there, St. John's, UConn in there. I'm going to zoom out the screen so y'all can see this East region. You got all these teams in there. Let me see. They haven't refreshed it yet, but I will. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think about this region. Who do y'all feel like, first reaction, who would come out of this region? Is it Duke? Is it UConn? The crazy part is that they got St. John's in the same region as UConn, so they got to run into them again also. All right? I'm on my phone. I'm just trying to see who's got comments, who's paying attention to the live feed. Want y'all to tap in. We also have people on TikTok as well, Instagram also. Michigan State gets North Dakota State, who won their conference tournament. I like it. It's a competitive region. I'm just surprised that UConn is in the region with Duke because that says again that UConn is the bottom 2 seed. When a couple weeks ago we were talking about UConn actually getting a 1 seed and Florida kind of stepping in. But that answers that question. Who will get that 4th 1 seed? I think Florida's going to be locked in with it. So we got questions. All right, what's up, Ben? What do you think about Nick Boyd and John Blackwell backcourt at Wisconsin? That Wisconsin team's tough. They surprised me in the Big Ten tournament, beating Illinois. I thought Illinois had a good shot at becoming a 2 seed. They still might be one of them. But Wisconsin played some good basketball. I think the key to winning in March Madness is defense and great guard play. And over the last 6-7 games, that Wisconsin team, those guards have looked really good. So depending on the matchup, where they put Wisconsin at regionally, you might be right. They may have a shot to go pretty far. We'll break that down as well. I'm going to do another show probably tomorrow or Tuesday where I'm going to give you guys my bracket region by region and let you know who I think I got going to the Final Four. But as it stands right now, yeah, I think Wisconsin, they got a decent shot for sure. All right, let's see. Where else are we at? Let's see what TikTok is talking about because we're live on there as well. All right. So this region, again, coming out of the East region, you got Duke, you got UConn at the 2, you got Michigan State as your 3, KU as a 4 seed, St. John's as a 5 seed. Out of those 5 teams, who do we realistically think can get out of the first round of the region? Let me stop scrolling the screen so y'all can see it. Who do we realistically think can get out of that region, right? Looking at it right here firsthand, we got an 8-9 matchup. TCU came on strong in the Big 12 tournament. I watched that. Ohio State looks okay. Northern Iowa and St. John's. Cal Baptist and KU. KU should win that. That shouldn't be a problem. Southern Florida, Louisville. It looks like it can be chalk in this region. Again, that's why we play the games. So I don't see too many big upsets until we start getting to a Sweet 16. We start getting the St. John's may run into Duke or KU may run into Duke again. You get Louisville and Michigan State. That'll be a great second round matchup. UCLA, UConn possibly. So in this region, I think the best second round matchup will probably be a Louisville, Michigan State. That'll be a good one. KU and St. John's will probably be the top one as well. So interesting stuff we got going on with this region, man. But comment below. Let me know what y'all think. All right, we got DWoo5239. Appreciate you for tuning in. SEC, do they get 8 or 10 teams? Mizzou, Oklahoma, Texas, Auburn. There are going to be a couple of SEC teams on the bubble, Oklahoma, Texas being a couple of them. Mizzou, I don't know if Mizzou Mizzou has a good shot to get in too. So we'll see. I didn't see them on any bubble talks, but we'll get to it. So, all right. CBS is back on TV. So we're in the West region now. So let me see where they have that on the screen. They're over on the opposite side of the bracket of Duke. Oh, they celebrating outside. I want to be in that weather. 32-2 Arizona Wildcats. They get the number 2 seed. I watched them play Friday night in the Big 12 tournament against Iowa State in that semifinal game, and they did not look good. Koa Pete is supposed to be a lottery pick. That was probably the worst game he played all year, but he bounced back in the championship game last night. Played well. They didn't look like they could even pass the ball that good. Maybe I'm underrating Iowa State's defense, but I thought Houston was actually going to win because of how Arizona played the night before. So congrats to them winning the Big 12 regular season and Big 12 tournament championship. So Utah State gets in against Villanova. Okay, Villanova was 24-8. So they got in the tournament too. So a lot of Big East love. There's Wisconsin right there. We just talked about them while they were on break as the 5 seed. Hey, I think Wisconsin is good. They got a good shot. It depends on who this 4 is going to be that they would have to play out there in Portland. I think they get out of the first round and beat High Point, but we'll see what type of guards they might have to run into in this next round. All right, as y'all see, the bracket is starting to fill up. We got Arizona. So we got it in real time. If you're watching me, the brackets are getting filled in. Who would be that 4 seed that Wisconsin could potentially run into? Acuff Jr. and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas surprised everybody. Congrats to John Calipari. 2 years at Arkansas. You look at where Kentucky is now, and you look at where Arkansas is. He's done a remarkable job with that program. Nobody expected them to win the SEC tournament championship, including me. And Arkansas is in as a 4 seed. They earned that spot. If they get to that second round against Wisconsin, Badger fans, you may be playing against arguably one of the best guards in America with Acuff Jr. He's going to the league, so that'll be a great matchup. All right. Deontu, appreciate you for tuning in. He said he needs his Longhorns to sneak in there. They are on the bubble, so it'll be interesting to see if they get in. BYU got in. AJ Nabasta, they played great in the Big 12 tournament as well. Congrats to them. We got Utah State and BYU. We got 2 Utah teams in the tournament. Texas got in because they're in the first 4. So for you Longhorns, or for anybody that had SEC questions, Texas plays against North Carolina State in that 11 matchup in the first 4. Gonzaga gets the 3 seed. Miami, another ACC team, gets in. Congrats to Miami. Shout out to them. Shout out to Jay Lucas. He's a former Duke Blue Devil assistant coach, first-year coach down there. He gets in, and the Missouri Tigers get in at 20-12 as a 10 seed. So there's your answer, SEC. You get Texas is in, Mizzou is in. Purdue fought their way to a number 2 seed. I don't think they get that number 2 seed if they don't win the Big Ten today against Michigan. So congrats to them. Florida will still be a 1 seed after the blowout because of the quad 1 wins and because of what they did in the SEC. They dominated the league, one of the toughest leagues in America. So they will get that 1 seed, right? They have the best argument to get it. My question was, do they deserve to be in the South as a 1 seed, or do they go to the Midwest and Michigan goes to the South? Do they penalize them for not getting to an SEC title game? So we'll see, because we still got the Midwest and the South regions to go. So this West region, what do y'all think about it? Arizona as the 1 seed, we expected that. Congrats to John Calipari getting a 4 seed and winning the SEC tournament. Congrats to Mizzou getting in as a 10 seed. They picked up strong at the end of the season. Congrats to them. But they do have a tough challenge against them with Miami. Miami's a good team. All right, they played real tough in the ACC. That's going to be a nice first round matchup. That might be one of the best first round matchups, that 10-7 on Friday in St. Louis. Mizzou gets a little bit of home cooking. They don't have to leave the state. So, wow. I mean, that's going to be like a Missouri home game. Florida's got to come travel to them as a 7 seed. That'll be interesting. So when you're filling out brackets, it's important to find out the teams that are playing, the matchups, and where they're playing at, because that can play a huge role in some inexperienced teams that may be a 7 seed. So, for example, BYU, right? They got young guys on their team, but they're on the West Coast. They may be a little more comfortable. Whereas Florida, if they have young guys and they feel like they're going to a neutral site, you're playing against a Mizzou team who's got seniors. They've got guys that have been in the program for years, and they only got to travel an hour and a half to St. Louis to play in this game. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm going to have to really, really think about that when I'm filling out my bracket. All right. I am surprised to see Mizzou as a 10 seed as well, but they did play well this season, only 10 losses. Nobody expected Mizzou to play how they played. Mark Mitchell came on strong as a senior. So let's see if he can lead this team to a Sweet 16 to, even further. We'll see how that goes. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, the X Factor Sports Podcast, every Wednesday night. You can catch me on YouTube. We talk football and basketball, college and pro level. That's what you're going to get from us. We are in between seasons right now. So every Wednesday night starting March 25th, that'll be the season 11 premiere of the X Factor Sports Podcast, episode 121. If you are newly subscribed, you can always obviously lock in and check all the previous episodes. Or if you just like listening to podcasts, we're everywhere on all places you can listen to podcasts. So that's your Spotify, your iHeartRadios, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. You can check us out. Even Pandora. You can get the X Factor Sports Podcast. All right. So the West region, how do we feel about that? Who do we think can get out of that West region? More or less, who do we feel like can challenge Arizona in this region? Does Arkansas have a good shot? Does BYU have a chance to get in there, right? They're familiar with Arizona. They're in the same conference. Gonzaga is a 3 seed. They look like they're at the bottom part of this bracket. Maybe Purdue, maybe winning the Big Ten championship inspires Purdue. They go on a run, right? Shout out to Braden Smith. He is 1 assist away from tying Bobby Hurley for the all-time assist record in college basketball history. He is 1 assist away from tying him. This kid averages 8-9 assists a game. So in this first game against Queens, which is crazy enough, he's going to pass Bobby Hurley as the all-time leader in assists in college basketball. For those of you who do not know who Bobby Hurley is, he played for Duke in the 90s, won back-to-back national championships with the Duke Blue Devils. Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner and the crew, Grant Hill, those guys. So this record has been around for over 30 years, and history is going to get made next weekend. I think Braden Smith gets that done in the first 5 minutes of the game. All right. We got Mizzou fans on the chat. Appreciate that. Appreciate y'all tuning in. They showed y'all some love, Mizzou, getting your opening round game in St. Louis. I mean, that's very, very generous. So congrats to them on getting that. So which region looks the toughest? Let's talk about that. We got the East region and we got the West region, okay? So I got those zoomed in. You got Duke, St. John's, KU, Michigan State, and UConn in the East region. In the West region, you got Arizona, BYU, Arkansas, Gonzaga, and Purdue. Which region do y'all feel like will be the toughest to get out of? Because when you're filling out the bracket, we got to talk about the region of death, right? The one that'll be the gauntlet for anybody to get out of, the strong survive type of bracket. I think this Duke bracket is tougher, honestly, just from first glance. When we go seed by seed, UConn being a 2 seed, Michigan State was tough all year. Gonzaga was tough playing out west. I would take Arkansas over Kansas. I'm taking St. John's over Wisconsin as 5 seeds. So that's just me. All right. So they're back on the screen. Let me scroll down and get the bottom of the bracket. Michigan, even after losing the Big Ten championship game to Purdue about an hour ago, Michigan is still one of the best teams in the country, 31-3. I hate that they show these kids during Selection Sunday after losing a tournament championship. I know they don't want to be there. You can see their faces on the screen, but congrats to them. All right, so UMBC and Howard made the tournament as the 16 seeds. They'll be one of the first 4s in because they won their conference tournament. Georgia in the tournament again. Shout out to them. I don't know when the last time Georgia's been in the tournament. Probably Anthony Edwards. That's probably the last time they made it. St. Louis gets in, A-10 champions. There was questions if they would be an at-large team like Miami of Ohio because of their record, 28-5. But it's good to see that they left no doubt, as Miami of Ohio should have done. Leave no doubt, win your conference tournament, get the automatic bid. Texas Tech is a 5 seed. I like that. That works for me. All right, what other questions we got? I think the East is much harder, but Wisconsin, Arkansas, second round match will 100%. That matchup may be one of the best matchups of the entire tournament before getting to a Final Four or Elite Eight. That is an Elite Eight type of game. All right, and I'm interested to see how that goes. The same in the West, though, where you get KU. Who would KU play in that second round? You would get a KU St. John's. That's kind of an Elite Eight type of feel as well. So those are going to be some good matchups, man. We'll see how it goes. So Akron gets in as the 12th seed. Alabama gets the 4 seed. A lot of SEC love for all the SEC people in here. I think we got probably 5 SEC teams in so far. Georgia's in, Bama's in, Mizzou. Who else do we have? Florida obviously is going to be in. Arkansas, Tennessee. We may get 9 SEC teams in the tournament, which doesn't bode well for these Big 12 teams that are on the bubble. And Miami of Ohio gets in as an 11, but they're the last. They got to play in the first 4. Listen, I don't feel like they should have been in the first 4. You go 31-1. You try to schedule opponents. They duck you. So you win all your games. You lose in the conference tournament. I get it. You're a lower major. But a 31-win team, at least they got in, man. But they got to show up against SMU or it's all for naught. It's a new season. Everybody's 0-0. Virginia gets a 3 seed. I wonder if they'd have got the 2 seed if they won ACC tournament championship. But they get a 3 seed at 29-5. That's fair. Donate to the stream. I appreciate it, man. You don't have to donate to the stream. You can subscribe to the X Factor Sports Podcast. And the way you can pay it forward is share it and subscribe and share with everybody you know that loves listening to sports, everybody that loves football and basketball from a college or pro level. Tell everybody what we got going on. That's how you can pay it forward. I appreciate that. So the odds, we're saying 9 or 7 SEC teams. If Oklahoma can somehow squeak their way in, SEC may get 10 teams in the tournament. I'd be very shocked to see that. Iowa State, wow. Iowa State gets a 2 seed. I was just literally talking to some Iowa State fans at the Big 12 tournament on Friday, and they were asking me, where do you think Iowa State would fall? I said, they have an argument to be a 2 seed, but does Houston get a 2 seed as well? So I'm kind of shocked Iowa State got a 2 seed, but I guess the committee was impressed by what they did, how they played against Arizona, and they've had some big wins this year. So I guess they earned the right to get that, saying Iowa State's one of the top 8 teams in the country. Congrats to them. All right. So now we got the Midwest region, which is what we thought. So Florida will obviously get to stay in the South. So I guess them losing in the SEC tournament didn't penalize them, didn't change them for what region they got. They just got a couple extra days of rest. So Michigan, the number 1 seed in the Midwest region. Okay. And we got Texas Tech as a 5, Alabama as a 4 seed against a 24-10 Hofstra team. Interesting. Okay. Alabama gets to stay south there in Tampa, Florida. Then we got Kentucky as a 7 seed. We got another SEC team in. Iowa State gets to go to St. Louis. Yeah. I appreciate you, man. Ben Brinson, I appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate you for subscribing and following along. Virginia gets to play in Philadelphia. They're close to home. Miami of Ohio gets in there in Philly against Tennessee. The winner of Miami of Ohio and SMU gets Tennessee. All right, one of my homeboys back home in Chicago has got a point guard, the point guard at SMU. So I'm glad they made the tournament. We get to see them play. See if they can get out of that first 4 round. All right. All right. So we got the Midwest region locked in. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this region. This region doesn't look as tough as the East and the West. I'm going to just be honest right off the rip. I don't see it. I see Michigan can get out of this. They can be tested. But with Texas Tech, with having top end hurt, that kind of hurts their chances. I don't know how far they can go. Alabama's a good team. They score a lot. But defensively is their issue. They give up so many points. Virginia's a good defensive team as a 3. Maybe they can get out of that bottom bracket. But Iowa State, I'm surprised by how well defense Iowa State plays. Also, we know they got shooters. They got the best 3-point shooter in the country. I saw him in person. This dude hit damn near every shot he took. Fall away jumpers. I mean, he was getting fouled on some of these threes and he was making them. He was going shot for shot with Del Oso against Arizona on Friday night. A great display of 3-point shooting. So if they're hot, they can make a run too in this region. This region looks like it's up for grabs, especially the way Michigan played today. I think this is the region where you can have a Virginia or an Iowa State come out of this region, anybody other than Michigan, if you don't want to go chalk. And I don't think anybody will be surprised or upset about it. All right. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at for the Midwest region. We're going to go to the South region where I think Florida will be the number 1 seed there. And then a lot of these teams that are on the bubble, fingers crossed. We'll see if Oklahoma gets in. You know, we'll see if some of these other teams will get off the bubble and get in. Now that the Miami of Ohio can breathe, we're going to see who else finishes out this region. All right. The X Factor Sports Podcast, again, season 11. You can tune in. The season 11 premiere will be Wednesday, March 25th, 7 p.m. on YouTube. And we go every week on YouTube, every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We do 12 episodes a season. We are going to be on episode 121. Again, we will dive deeper into March Madness. At that point, we'll probably be closer to the Final Four. So I have my predictions ready for that. And you can always chat in real time and we'll be responding to you guys directly. So again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let me go ahead and thank everybody. All right, appreciate that. So yeah, get your comments in. Let me know who you think off top, who is going to get to a Final Four. Obviously, we got 3 regions in, but who's your team? What questions do you have? How far do you think your team's going to go? You can ask those questions. I'll give you a prediction on where I think they'll go, who I think they match up with well, and we can talk about that in real time as well. All right. Let me see. Let me switch over to TikTok, see what that's looking like. It is live there. Appreciate y'all again for tuning in. All right, they are back. We are going to the last region, the South. We're going to talk about who is in this region and how they're doing and who we think can come out. Again, no surprises there. Florida, the number 1 seed in that region, 26-7. Who's my champion? Great question. You see the hoodie I'm wearing? I think the Duke Blue Devils go all the way, win a national championship. They've played the toughest schedule and only lost 2 games. They did not design that schedule to only have 2 losses. They're battle tested. We do need Patrick Ngumba to come back, the starting center. The thing that hesitates or makes me nervous is Caleb Foster being out. We need that strong veteran guard presence and that defensive presence. So we need Caden Boozer to grow up and play like he played these last 2 games in the ACC tournament, and we'll have a shot. But I'm going to go with the Duke Blue Devils to win the national championship this year. I think that Coach John Shire finally gets over the hump. All right. We got 2 more SEC teams that get in. So Vandy's in as a 5 seed, making it to the SEC championship game, ultimately losing to Arkansas. Clemson is in from the ACC against Iowa. Clemson gets to play down in Florida. The Florida Gators get to play in Tampa. Nebraska gets in as a 4 seed. Wow, congratulations to Nebraska. I think they won their first 18, 19 games. So congrats to Nebraska on a great regular season. I haven't seen Nebraska do this well in a long time. Shout out to Fred Hoiberg and them boys. They get the Troy Trojans as a 13 seed. They get to go to Oklahoma City. Cam Boozer is great. And those guys, like, people talk about Cam Boozer's not AJ DeBosta. He's not Koa Pete. He's not any of these, he's not Darren Peterson. These guys know how to win basketball games. They just have it engraved in their DNA. Whatever the Duke Blue Devils need for the Boozer twins to do to win basketball games, these kids done it all season long, and that's all I care about. I think that they have what they need to win a national championship. Carolina gets a 6 seed up against VCU in Greensville, South Carolina. Okay. So that'll be close for both teams. I mean, obviously North Carolina is closer than Virginia Commonwealth, but in the South region, okay, Carolina, that'll be a matchup. Illinois gets the 3 seed. Okay. I feel like if Illinois didn't lose to Wisconsin, they would have had a strong case to get a 2, but that loss put them here. They got to go down to South Carolina against Penn. Okay. Illinois at 26-8. Congrats to the Illini, another Big Ten team getting in the tournament. It's getting down to the wire, man. Are we going to get OU playing in Oklahoma City as a 10 seed? Well, because if they're on the bubble, they're going to get in as a 10 seed. I don't think they get in as a 15. And Texas A&M gets that 10 spot. So we got another SEC team. So what is our number up to? For those of y'all who are keeping track, how many SEC teams is that now? 9? The Houston Cougars get the 2 seed, as we expected. Congrats to Houston. I actually picked them winning the Big 12 championship game after watching them play on Friday night. Just couldn't put it together. They tried to make a couple runs at the end, but Arizona held true. And they get Idaho in Oklahoma City. So there you have it. Oklahoma is bounced out. They must have been the last or the first 4 out, along with Indiana as well. One of the first 4 out. So we got our bracket put together, okay? In this region, you get Florida as the 1 seed, Nebraska as a 4, Illinois as a 3, Houston as a 2. I like that balance. Vandy as a 5 seed. They get the opportunity to possibly see Florida again. I think there's a lot more balance in this one. The East and the West regions look heavy at first sight. So I wonder what went into how they put these teams together. I don't know if it's based on location, region, but I still feel like Duke is in the toughest region of all. And I think Arizona has the second toughest region. So I think the East and the West are the 2 toughest regions. All right. So be sure to comment below, man. What's y'all questions? VCU beat North Carolina. No Caleb Wilson. Seth Trimble really needs to step up. I agree. It's a very, very good possibility. So what happens is VCU playing against North Carolina. North Carolina is a team that likes to rebound and get out in transition. If you force North Carolina to play a half-court game without Caleb Wilson, VCU can have a shot. They have a legitimate shot. And if they, for some reason, were to get past VCU and running to Illinois, Illinois has 2 or 3 pros on their team. All right. So that may be a roadblock as well. So there you have it. They're showing the conferences with multiple bids. The SEC leads everybody with 10 bids. So congratulations to the SEC. The first 4 out, like we just said, Indiana was one of them, Oklahoma, Auburn, and San Diego State. So even with the SEC getting 10 teams in, they still had 2 teams that didn't get in. They were on the bubble. They had the possibility of getting 12 teams in from the SEC. Wow. But at 17 and 16 and 19 and 15, I mean, for me personally, this is how I've always been growing up too. You got to win at least 20 games to get into the tournament. Or obviously, if you win your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid. But in that large bid, like that should be a prerequisite in the beginning of the year. You got to have a minimum of 20 wins to be in the tournament. If you're 19 and 14 without a conference tournament championship, like you have no business in the tournament. You got 14 losses. I don't care what conference you're in. It's too many teams trying to get in the tournament. For you to get an at-large bid, and for us to be wondering if a 31-1 team is going to get in the tournament, there's no way in hell a team with 19 wins should get in. So that's just my thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think or how y'all feel about that. All right. So we got the bracket filled out. So I'm going to zoom out so we can see the entire bracket in full. You guys let me know what you think. Did the committee get it right? Should there be an OU or an Indiana in the tournament? I don't feel like they did them any disservice. I think the teams that made it in the tournament deserve to be in. We can debate if the regions are correct, if the people are seeded correct, but I think the 68 teams that they got in, they got it right. All right. So y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. Do we like the 68 teams that got put in? Do you feel like your team is in the right spot? Who do you have winning a national championship and why? Okay. At VSAX, appreciate you for tuning in. First reaction, favorite upset potential. My first reaction is I don't see very many upsets. I'm going to be honest with y'all. The upsets are going to come they're going to be tight upsets, meaning a 10-7, right, upset, or a 8-9, if you want to call a 9-8 beating an 8 an upset, or a 10 beating a 7. I don't see very many 12-5 upsets. I don't see a lot of crazy, 2-14s. I don't see that at all. So I'm going to scroll around so y'all can see the screen. If I'm looking in this East region, right, a potential upset here, I don't think UCF can be UCLA, right? That's a 10-7. I don't see any big upsets. I don't see KU getting upset. I don't consider the 8-9s as upsets. We move over to the West. I don't see any real upsets here either, right? BYU's got to wait for the first 4, see who gets that. I think BYU beats whoever comes out of there. Mizzou can beat Florida as a 10 seed in St. Louis. That's a potential upset. You got a first-year coach in Jay Lucas in the tournament, right? Going up against some experienced guys, Mark Mitchell and a couple other seniors playing close to home. That's a potential upset in the first round, a 10-7. All right. We go down to the Midwest region. These blanks you see is because of the first 4. So the winners of those first 4 games on Tuesday, Wednesday will fill these spots. If we look here, again, I don't see a 12-5 upset anywhere. Santa Clara could beat Kentucky. There's another 10-7. So when I think of upsets, the biggest ones I'm seeing are possibly 10-7s. I can see Kentucky getting got. They've been inconsistent all year. Santa Clara is a good team. They play tough basketball, playing up in the West against Gonzaga every year and St. Mary. So they're not going to be afraid of playing against the guys in Kentucky. So that game's in St. Louis. I guess them with the time change and being in a different region maybe. But that's the upset I can see happening. Texas A&M over St. Mary. Texas A&M playing in a bigger, stronger conference, maybe can beat up on St. Mary. I can see that happening. So to answer your question, my first reaction of looking at the bracket, when I look at upsets in the first round, the 10-7 matchup is where I would look for upsets to happen. Those are going to be some good games. We got some good 10 seeds, some good at-large bids. They can possibly go in and beat some of these 7 seeds. All right? Appreciate that comment. So before we get up out of here, if y'all got 1 or 2 more comments, I'll respond to those. The X Factor Sports Podcast. All right? The season premiere of season 11 is Wednesday, March 25th, 7 p.m. on YouTube. Every Wednesday night, that's Central Time. You can catch the X Factor Sports Podcast. This is the place you want to be for college and pro football and basketball, the X Factor Sports Podcast. Be sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, pay it forward, share it with everybody that's interested in college sports and NFL and NBA. Jay Mondaine's got you, all right? Appreciate y'all. So we're looking at the top 4 seeds by region. Again, at first reaction, maybe Kansas is the lowest 4 seed. That's probably why they gave them that. I'm very surprised by them getting a 4 seed. If we're going to go by shock, I'm going to tell you who I'm shocked about. All right, so KU getting a 4 seed. Very surprised by that. Florida getting the South region after losing in the quarterfinal, semifinal of the SEC tournament. Surprised they gave them the South. Not surprised they got a 1 seed. I'm surprised they get to stay home. Okay? Nebraska getting a 4 seed. I'm surprised they got a 4 seed as well. Congratulations to them. Did not realize that they were going to get that high. A 5 or 6, yes, but they got rewarded by getting a 4 seed for sure. Let's see. Who else are we surprised by? I think those are my biggest surprises. Tennessee at 6. I mean, Tennessee could have been a 7, but they did better than Kentucky this year, so cool. And then I guess you can't give Miami, Ohio. They're a mid-major, so you can't give them higher than any of the other mid-majors that won their conference tournament. So you reward them by making them an 11 seed in the first 4 instead of like a 15 or a 16. I guess that's the compromise that you do with a team that wins 31 games, didn't win their conference tournament. I feel like if Miami of Ohio won their conference tournament, they would have got one of these like 13 or 11 seeds that stuck, right? South Florida got an 11 seed in the East region, and it's stuck because they won their conference tournament. I feel like the penalty is you get the first 4 because you lost your conference tournament, but the reward is we're going to make you an 11 seed in the first 4. So those are my shocks. All right. Again, appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in. This is a live reaction to the bracket. Y'all enjoy y'all Selection Sunday. Be sure to tune in on ESPN tonight for the Women's Selection Sunday as well. So shout out to the ladies. We will be talking about both once season 11 starts. That is Wednesday, March 25th. Y'all tap in. This is Jay Mondaine of the X Factor Sports Podcast signing out. Appreciate y'all, man. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow